Use your blood to paint. Keep painting until you faint. Keep painting until you die. That was Blood Piece by Yoko Ono, written in the summer of 1960, and I'm going to call this story a period piece. This is a project for a class called Sense and Sensuality, and I originally wanted to turn in a painting done in my own period blood, which isn't a new idea in feminist art. Brilliant women artists have used their own blood far before me, like the recent work in the media by Sarah Levy with her interpretation of Donald Trump. It makes some people squeamish, I'm aware, but I took inspiration from artist Millie Brown, who uses her own vomit as paint. She said, "I wanted to use my body to create art. I wanted it to truly come from within, to create something beautiful that was raw and uncontrollable." And I think that relates a lot to period blood, that it can be used as a medium and be that raw, uncontrolled substance. So I remember talking about this project, getting excited, and being met with a lot of disgusted faces and shock. I wanted to talk about that reaction with others, or how other people who have periods are affected by the reactions of those who don't. There were a lot of similarities in what these people had to say. I talked to 5 different people. I asked them about how they heard about periods, when they got their period. For some of them, while a lot of it didn't seem surprising to me, I feel like it's still very important to talk about and important to turn in as a project in a class on women's literature, because menstruation is something that we don't talk about. A lot of the energy in the room when I was talking to these people was tense and weird in a way that I couldn't really describe, and they couldn't really describe, even when they were saying, "Oh, I'm so comfortable talking about my period," which a lot of them did. A lot of them didn't express in their words that it made them uncomfortable to talk about menstruation, but I definitely felt it when I was talking to them. But people with uteruses, people who have been oppressed because they have uteruses, are valid in feeling all the things that you're going to hear in this next few segments of interviews. So there were 4 people I talked to who actually get their periods, and I asked them all the same series of questions. I'll let you guys listen to their voices first, and then I'm going to kind of mix them all together so you can see how the responses are the same and how they vary in ways. So I'm just going to ask you guys questions about your periods. If they're invasive, you can decline to answer, that's totally fine. So, when did y'all first hear about the concept of periods?
I was 10.
That was Kyndal's voice?
Okay. Yeah, I would say about that same time, 8 or 10, because when I was in elementary school, we had the health class in 4th or 5th grade. And that's really when I first heard about it initially. It wasn't from my mom, because she's just not that kind of person.
And that was Emily.
But at the end of 5th grade, they separated the girls and the boys and showed us this dumb video, and they were like, "This is what you're gonna go through in middle school probably," and it was, I don't know, it was weird. So that was the first time I knew about periods, I guess.
That was Gabriel.
I think I was 10 years old. I remember when I found out, I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, what? I was like, that happened? That happens to people? I was so weirded out. I was like, oh my god. And then I found out that people grew hair down there, and I was like, oh my god, that's even crazier.
And that was Madison.
I thought it was odd with that, and I thought it was odd that they split us up for the boys and the girls, because I was like, why can't we also know what boys go through and vice versa? I don't know.
Well, so when you first heard about what a period was, what did you feel?
What the fuck?
What? I honestly was scared out of my fucking mind.
Yeah.
I was like, this is gonna happen?
I'm bleeding.
Of course I didn't.
Between my legs.
I wasn't scared in front of my mom. I was like, I'll be fine. I know how to deal with it. And then, just hearing about it, it's oh my god, the time is approaching. Every birthday, it's I'm getting closer to this. So I was scared, but I was
when my mom told me, that was the first time I'd ever known about that, because I remember being really, really surprised. So.
Next, I asked everyone when they got their first period.
I think my first period was in 7th grade, and it was an interesting time, because I don't know, I didn't know, I knew what it was, but I didn't know it was going to be that heavy. And so when it, the first time it happened at school, and then I came home from, I went to my mom's work every day after school, And so I got there, and I was like, I didn't really know how to tell her, so I was just like, I think I need to throw away my underwear because my period came. And she's like, well, we don't need to throw away your underwear, it'll wash out. But, like,
Mine was 7th grade. But, like, when it first happened, like, I had really, really heavy periods and really painful periods when I first got it. And the doctor initially was like, because I got it in 7th grade, I got it at school, and I called my mom crying. I was like, Mom, I can't deal with this. Shut up. I can't deal with this here. Like, I need to go home right now. And so she picks me up from work, and she brings me home, and I'm, like, crying, like, Mom, what the hell's going on? Because, like, I knew about it, but I didn't know about it, and I didn't know it'd be so painful. But, yeah, my period was really painful at first, and, like, we went to the doctors and asked them questions and a few and stuff, and initially they're like, well, when you first get your period, it's going to be pretty heavy, and it will kind of ease out later on. And it come to find out that it didn't ease off, and, like, mine was heavy all the time, and every time I got it, it was for the full 7 days, and it was just, like, soaking pads every 2 hours, and it was terrible.
I was getting older, and then my mom, she was about to leave for a trip, and she was like, what if you accidentally get a period, like, while I'm out? I'm like, Mom, it's not gonna happen. The hour she leaves, she's on the plane, I go to the bathroom to shower, and I got it, so I freaked out, I started crying, I ran to my sister, I was like, what do I do? She's gone to Florida, what do I do?
My parents were in Florida, too, when I got
And
mine.
my sister looked at me, she, like, looked up from the computer, she was like, ah, and I'm, like, sitting here crying, because I don't know what to do.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh, how old was I? I was in middle school, and I think I was 12 or 13.
Have you ever leaked, like, in public, or...
I was,
Oh my god.
I was in 8th grade, and my dad took me to Los Angeles to watch the X Games, like the summer X Games event, and I was so excited, and I was on the plane when I got my period, and I was fine there, and I was like, because I was kind of prepared for it, because I had a feeling, and I was like, I'll just pack stuff just in case. This son of a bitch came in full throttle for like the full week we were there, and I felt so bad, because I couldn't tell my dad. I didn't know how to tell him, like, hey, I feel like I got shot in my vagina.
I'm
Can you take me to
bleeding.
the drugstore real quick?
Not through my pants or anything, but on my underwear, yeah.
Do you ever leak?
sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I usually wear liners. Like, even if I have, like, a tampon in, I'll wear, like, a liner in my underwear. Just because, like, my periods get really, really heavy. And either I don't have time to change my tampon, or to, like, just be so heavy that it leaks through the tampon anyway.
At this point, I checked in with everybody. I asked them if talking about their periods made them feel comfortable or any discomfort.
Do you feel comfortable or uncomfortable talking about it?
I'm fine.
Totally comfortable.
It's part of life. Like,
Yeah.
You're
We're gonna-
screaming.
I know, we're gonna talk
It's
about
a part of life!
I'm screaming, fuck! over here, but I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I'm totally cool.
Of course
with
I
it.
was uncomfortable at first because it's like, I don't want to talk about my private parts, but now it's like, you know what? This is what happens.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I think people just are like, no, that's a private thing. Like, it's something you shouldn't talk about.
Mhm.
Which I think is a little ridiculous. I think it should be able to be talked about, you know, so, like, people can share experiences and, like, I mean, and that'll help, like, younger people learn about things.
Like, they're so grossed out about it. Like, they do all this advertising, but then when they actually, like, see a girl in public, like, excuse me, I have to go to the bathroom, they're like, why do you have to go to the bathroom? Why are you bringing your purse? Like,
I'm still uncomfortable, like, holding a pad in my hand to go to the bathroom. And I think that society's kind of pushed that on us, is that, oh, that cotton and that piece of plastic and that piece of cotton is just so bad because it's in that certain wrapping, and you can't hold it out and show everyone because of that. And so it's just kind of like, it's a little weird. It's kind of twisted how that works. It's like,
you know, like, even here, going to the bathroom here, I feel like I still have to, like, sneak a pad into my
Exactly.
pocket and go to the bathroom.
Have you guys had sex on your period?
No,
No. no. No.
That's gross.
I mean, it's messy. It's really messy.
It looks like a crime scene after.
Oh shit, it really does. I have before once, and the person that I was with was just a really accepting person, and he's really cool. So he, you know what I mean. It was not a big deal at all. And like I said, I have a really light one, so it wasn't even. It was just like a little bit, and then it was like.
Have you ever, like, experienced an encounter, like, I mean, sexually, where the guy was, like, a douche about it? Or...
Actually, yes. I have. Because I was like, I had just gotten off my period, and I was, like, on my period, or, like, I had just finished my period, and I thought I was, like, done, you know what I mean? And my ex-boyfriend, like, he was, like, eating me out, and he was like, I can taste blood, like, I can still taste, like, you taste like blood, and I'm like, well, what the fuck do you, like, what do you want me to do about it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, okay, well, then don't do it then, like, what is your problem? I don't know. I wouldn't see a problem with it. I would just keep going, like, I don't care.
For the sake of time, I didn't get to include a lot of our conversations. We talked about how periods ruined our clothes, how we got hungry and emotional a week before our periods, how it was embarrassing to not be able to go swimming with our friends because of our periods. We talked about free bleeding. The consensus was that free bleeding was not for them, but everyone was super supportive of people who do so. When we talked about symptoms, all but one said they had really bad cramps. Cramps were regarded as sort of a joke. Everyone laughed when they talked about their PMS and how the first day of their period was painful. Madison doesn't get cramps with her period, and said she got lucky with her mild symptoms, but experiences something that she feels is her place in the shared experience of female pain.
But I have this thing where, like, I have, like, the glands that make lady juice. Like, they, one of the glands, like, on this side, like, it just, like, well, out of nowhere, just, like, in a day, like, go crazy, like, completely out of whack. And I, like, produce way more than I should, and it, like, blows up, like, which is really crazy. Like, and it's hard to explain to people because it's like, it sounds really, like, goofy, but it is fucking goofy. It's fucking weird as shit. And, like, so it just, like, gets crazy big, and I have to, like, I've had to go into, like, emergency surgery, like, twice at, like, 3 a.m. just because, like, I wake up and, like, out of nowhere, like, it just goes crazy. Like,
is it, like, super painful?
It's extremely painful, and, like, the doctors, every time, it's a new doctor every time they have to do it. Every time they see it, they're like, oh my god, they're like, how, like, I can't walk, like, I'm not able to walk when it happens, and, like, I can't even, like, explain to you the pain that I've felt. Like, okay, my aunt, she gets them too, but she doesn't get it, like, as bad as I do, and she's like, yeah, like, I've had those before, and, like, it wasn't even, like, as crazy as yours, and she was like, and childbirth was, like, easier, like, an easier pain than what I had, so, like, I could not imagine going through what you went through. Like, I've literally, like, gone insane because of these things. Like, it's so crazy. Like, it's so good. So, like, I have a short period, but then I have that happen to me, you know what I mean? So, like, I don't know.
I wanted to get a male perspective on periods, and the only guys who volunteered to talk about periods with me were my extremely understanding, mostly homosexual guy friends. So I decided to force my boyfriend into an interview. I wanted to hear what he thought about my period, even though he's been nothing but accepting during our relationship. His answers were nothing special. He didn't think periods in general were gross or a big deal, but he did notice my mood swings in particular.
I mean, I don't really care, like, it doesn't matter, you know? You complain about it, so I get to look forward to you complaining about it.
Fuck off.
That's the only difference.
Like, you don't notice anything, like, change about me?
You get grumpy.
Do I?
Yeah.
Like, you literally, like, you notice it? Like,
And
if
that's- Yeah, no, that's not me, like, stereotyping girls get moody when they're on their periods. You actually do. You get grumpy.
Like how?
Just complain about everything. You go, I'm Chelsea, and I'm on my period.
Do I do it, like, am I unreasonable?
It's easier to make you grumpy. I don't know. I think it's more of a... It's less of a... It actually being a gross thing, and more of a... People tell you that it's gross. It's because Eve decided to eat some stupid apple thing. It's your fault.
I'm gonna put
Okay,
this on
okay,
it.
you can delete that, but like,
No, I'm not
I wanna
deleting.
keep talking.
He's joking here, but when I asked him about why he thinks it's unacceptable for girls to talk about their periods in society, this is the answer he gave me. I wonder if that's still the idea society has, buried under years of new ways of thinking. If the men who control the media, government, other societal institutions that oppress women still think that we're marked in some way by this archaic biblical story.